Okay, there we are. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Yvonne here from My Halal Kitchen and Dr. Matia Saeed, Holistic Mom, MD.
How are you guys? Yay!
We had a bit of a technical difficulty for a second there, but so if you were following us on YouTube and it got cut off, we're just back on because there were some technical issues. So we're back on Facebook and YouTube, and today we're going to talk about the healthiest summer drinks we can find, and hopefully those are ones that we can all have great discussions about, because we're going to talk about the immune system all the way through. Every week you can find us here, same time, same two ladies doing the very similar topics, but just weaving in different ideas around the topic of immunity and gut health and all of that. So those of you who have never joined us before, Dr. Saeed is the author of The Holistic RX. I highly recommend this book to all of you who are interested in natural healing and just getting your body back in balance. And my book, My Halal Kitchen, we decided to come together, bring our two heads and our two experiences together to bring you this series, and working on another project together that will sort of combine the two books and the two experiences. So, and I think like one of the things that Dr. Saeed is always talking about, and I love this about you, is that you're always talking about hope. Mm-hmm. And right now, people are experiencing a lot of fear and despair and anxiety, and just the fear factor is so enormous. And I was wondering if you could maybe just mention that before we get started on the recipes, because I'm seeing that so much lately, and I try not to absorb it, but it's there. And I realize, like, it affects my sleep. It affects my appetite, you know.
It does.
So what do you suggest for something like that?
So what's going on is that, you know, we're living in a world, you're right, filled with hopelessness. And it's overwhelming, especially if you see all the numbers going back up, and then you're watching the news on a daily basis. Yeah. It is nerve-wracking.
It's almost like you're watching a national sport or something. Like,
exactly. What's going on next?
I understand the importance of knowing what's going on, and I think that's great that governments are transparent about those things, although maybe some people may not believe the numbers. But regardless of that, it's just like your mind is constantly saying, is it up, is it down, is it up, is it down? And I know I worry about, like, well, what about things closing up, and are we going to be able to get that or go there, or, you know, it's just constant what if, and how do you, I can feel my blood pressure rise, I can feel my cortisol go up, if that makes sense.
It does. And I think
that's
what we do about that is, I think this time has sort of uncovered a couple things. Mm-hmm. And one, that we were already sort of negative to begin with. And so now you have that's like, we were already worrying about like just normal day stuff.
Yeah.
And now when you add an extra thing to worry about that is like way beyond your control, because we've been so used to everything in our control.
Yeah.
And we're not used to anything not being in our control.
Yeah.
And so that can cause a lot of anxiety. And I think that we have to focus on the day-to-day activities of what we can accomplish. You leave your screen time for just like a half an hour to an hour at the max of news and things like that, just to get caught up, and then just sort of shut it out, and then focus on the things that you can accomplish in your daily routine.
Yeah.
And I really feel that really does help.
I feel like people get nervous because we can't plan enough ahead, you know. I mean, and it's not just about frivolous things like vacations, it's school, it's are the kids staying home, are the kids going out to school or back to school, or if they do, you know, and every country is doing things differently, so the stress levels may be different from country to country. And I know we have a pretty global audience here, so it's got to be, you know, different for people in different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
You know, and also the way things are being handled, and just the stress levels that people portray on each other. You know, I think we all need to like be kinder and, you know, have, you know, we can't, I think it's getting to everybody that you can't, you know, hug your friends or get together so much easily for, you know, coffee or tea or things we just took for granted.
Yeah. So there's so much stuff to be concentrating on, especially this gives us the time to focus on all those things that we are thankful for, and spend time with family and really take care of our health, because that is one of the main pieces, is that they're noticing more and more that those people that are getting sick, 90% of those people that are getting sick, suffering from comorbidities and mortalities, are due to because they're metabolically unstable. Either they have hypertension, diabetes, obesity. So this is that time that we can really use to our benefit to get healthier, because their statistics are showing that only 12% of people are metabolically stable.
Wow. Only 12%.
Only 12%.
Globally or in the US?
Yeah, globally. 12% are stable. And then 88% are unstable.
That's got to change.
That has to change.
And it's like we talk about a lot. It's not just about, good food and good recipes. You can have all of that and still be off. I mean, those of you who don't know, I tell my story often that a few years back I was pre-diabetic, and you actually caught it because when I gotten other blood tests and stuff, it didn't show up, but your tests showed you immediately spotted it, and I'm like, well, I'm a healthy eater, and okay, I needed to get rid of the inflammatory foods like milk and cheeses and stuff, and also breads and pastas, but I didn't have so much of it. I didn't abuse it, but it was my stress level that threw me off. And that was the biggest change for me in terms of thinking about my health, because I thought I could handle everything through food. And it's just not the case. That's why you are Holistic Mom, MD, because you look at the whole picture, and I'm so grateful for that. Because now I don't just say, well, I can just fix this with like a certain food. It's not like that. It's also state of mind, mind, body, soul, and making some really big changes. I mean, small changes are helpful, but in my case, I think I needed to make some big changes to see differences, and I did. But in this case right now, I'm starting to feel all of that shift again. And I think once you are cognizant of the fact that you need to do that holistic approach, you can kind of detect, like now I can see I'm off a little and I need to recalibrate. That's a blessing to be able to notice.
We recognize it. Yep, absolutely.
Definitely, because before, like I said, I just thought, oh, what is this hoo-ha stuff about, write 10 things you're grateful for in a journal. I really did just write it off. Like, I've got too many other things to do. But I think you really showed me that, you can be a super healthy eater, but if you don't incorporate all this other stuff, you're just gonna be off balance. And that's exactly what I was. So,
and that's why, this time is really showing us that we have been off balance for so long. And this is the time to use that. The world has been off balance.
Yeah, the earth, and the whole thing.
The earth, and we're not talking, unfortunately, you turn on the news and you turn on TV and we're not talking about any of that.
No.
We're just talking about, just waiting for a vaccine or waiting for this or waiting for that or waiting for a drug. But there's really no self-empowerment besides for just, staying indoors, separating, and then you can wear a mask. But
balance is key. It's key. We hear that all the time, like have work-life balance, but I think it's just whole life balance, not work and family. It's everything. And it's even your personal, your self-care, your mindset, all of it needs to be in balance, and your body can definitely feel it. So one of the things I thought about was when we were, talking about these, healing drinks or, nice summer drinks is, if we can't most people get together in the summertime, sit outside on their balconies or patios or whatever, and, have barbecues, and that's probably not happening as much this year. But, there's a lot of virtual stuff going on. Maybe people could take these recipes and make them and then sit and have a Zoom call with their family or a Facebook chat or, whatever. I don't know. I'm thinking like, get creative, right? We're giving you guys some tools and ideas about why we think this is so important first. Like that's our why. We want balance for all of us. And two, you can just apply what we're talking about in your life in a creative way, right?
Absolutely. Because, especially right now, I think people, the barbecues and things like that are happening. I know some people especially are just doing some barbecues with their family in and of itself, and they want to get together and do something fun because not that many people are going out. So it's really for them, they're like, okay, you know what I'm going to at least do is I need to enjoy myself. So
Yeah.
this is what we started to enjoy ourselves with. We're like, okay, we got the barbecue, we got the summer drinks going, but this is something that we really wanted to emphasize is that
Yeah.
with summer drinks come junk.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of sugar.
Lots of sugar, because we are literally surrounded. So I really wanted to take this moment right now to talk about sugar and how it permeates our daily lives.
Yeah.
Every holiday, every treat, every celebration, every trip to the doctor, every sadness, every disappointment, basically times of stress. So most of us are like, oh, wait, I need the ice cream right now, right? So I need the ice cream. But no, because remember, sugar does stimulate the brain reward centers via these neurotransmitters. But unfortunately, it can lead to chronic diseases and leads to heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, and really has no nutritional value. It leads to sickness. It feeds this bad bacteria, so therefore leads to bacterial overgrowth. It also then feeds the bad bacteria that makes you crave more sugar, like fungus. It's like this vicious cycle. It puts your basically microbiome out of balance.
Yeah.
It helps to basically leads to inflammation. It disrupts your blood sugar balance, leading to insulin spikes and fatigue and brain fog and sugar crashes and carb cravings, all leading to that insulin resistance that we talked about.
And with all the natural fruits that we have, why do we need artificial bleached sugar? Why? It's an addiction. You know, I think there's a great book everybody should read called The Sugar Blues. If you haven't read it, go get a copy. It is awesome. It will change the way you think about sugar, but it really shows how sugar kind of alters your state of mind. And it's as addictive as some drugs. So, I mean, I'm not the doctor here.
No, it is. I'm the doctor. I'm telling you that sugar basically increases your oxidative stress. It leads to inflammation. It basically makes you obese, old, and ill. And in this time right now, it increases your chances of developing sickness and disease.
Just no need for it. Just no need.
No, zero.
I think that what happens is that, I mean, again, I always talk about my time in Turkey, and I'm like a kid in a candy store, quote unquote, natural candy store. When I go to the local bazaar with all the amazing, beautiful fruits and vegetables, and I think, wow, this is amazing. Everybody's probably super healthy. But what happens is that those shiny packages at the grocery stores attract everybody worldwide. And the kids are driving the parents crazy. No matter what country you're in, the kids want that candy, that candy that's being marketed to them. And I come back to the US and I think it's 100 times more here. So that's not an exact number, but I'm exaggerating. But I'm telling you, the overwhelm I had was like, oh my God, they do a great job in product design and packaging, but you have to see beyond all the glitter. It's just the difference between fake food and real food.
There's no fake food, absolutely.
Choose
and real. It makes you sicker and sicker.
Yes, I think that's a rule of life. Choose real over fake anytime, in anything, any situation. You know, fake news, fake this, fake that, whatever. Choose real. You know, when you go with real, your body chemistry, handles it better, right? Isn't that true from like a medical perspective?
Oh, absolutely. We less insulin resistance. Your gut bacteria are so much happier. So therefore, you're less stressed overall, and there's lower inflammation.
Right.
So your body is just so much stable and balanced if we really focus on real healing foods.
Right. So let's dive into the drinks then. Why don't we do that?
Yes, absolutely. And I think for that, this is, again, we talked a little bit about sugar, and but I really wanted to talk about like artificial sweeteners, because that's something also you can get.
Colors.
And the colors and artificial sweeteners, because all of these processed foods does a body no good. It actually helps destroy you from the inside out. And specifically, so we talked about sugar, but even artificial sweeteners are all just synthetic chemicals.
Yeah.
And you can get stuff, exactly. So you can get things like this. You know, you're like, oh, it says real fruit on here. It says real, and it says mixed fruit. Oh, look at this, it's nectar. But once you start going to the ingredients here, it's like disgusting.
12 grams per cup or something like that. Probably.
Oh, no, 28 grams. 28, 28 grams of sugar per, and you know what the serving size is? 6 ounces.
How much
is 28, and this is just in here on the back. And this is what I really wanted to show everybody. It says real. Like, so you can easily go and you're like, oh, this is a delicious summer drink. It says real here. Everything is plum, apples. Oh my gosh. But when you go to the ingredients, it's sugar, 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 natural, artificial flavors. It's bad stuff for you.
And I think what else happens is that we have become so spoiled with like perfect fruits, perfect looking everything. But if you go to places where they do like the real juices and stuff, every glass might be a little different color. Like one pomegranate might be redder than the other, and that's fine. It's just, why do we have to add coloring to everything and standardize everything to make it like it's fake, basically? Real fruits have different varieties. Every fruit on the same tree might not be the same maturity level. You know, your watermelon doesn't have to be, you know, perfectly red and ripe just to, you know, drink it and make it into a juice or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Why do we, as a society, we have an issue with perfection, and when it comes to the food world, there is none of that. I mean, it is perfect. The foods are perfectly good for us typically, but like when you know something is spoiled, you know it's spoiled. It smells bad or whatever. But why do we play with it so much to the point where it has to be, if it's a mango juice, it has to be that, you know, bright orange color, when, you know, that's not how it is all the time in nature.
That's not how it is all the time.
So,
absolutely.
Again, going back to what's real.
And again, and in this one, what I want to emphasize, they even have like artificial sweeteners in a lot of the juices.
Yeah.
And so remember, artificial sweeteners, studies have shown that artificial sweeteners, you know, because people are like, oh, I want to maintain my waist size. I want to go for those artificially drinks, so those diet sodas, all of that junk actually makes you gain weight, increases your waist circumference instead of losing it. And you have higher chances of developing diabetes type 2 and metabolic syndrome and worsening the diabetes epidemic. So these are all making you super sick.
I've read some very scary things about artificial sweeteners, and I can't believe how many people still put them in their beverages. I mean, and a lot of times it's diabetics who do it because they're told don't have sugar, so they go with the artificial sweetener. And I just want to say,
and what's crazy is that it leads to diabetes.
And yeah, well, that's the other thing. Like, I think we need to train our taste buds. You know, we need to have willpower and self-discipline enough to say, I'm going to cut the sugar, and then after some time, maybe 6, 7, 8 days or something, your taste buds will come back. It's almost like it melds your taste buds. Fake foods and all of those synthetic chemicals that they put in food. I don't know what it does to your taste buds, but it kind of, you know, crosses the border when you don't really taste food for what it is. So
yeah, it does. And remember, for those people who are trying to get off of sugar, the best way, because people are like, how am I going to get off of sugar? Drinking your calming teas and all the things that we're going to talk about today will help you. Getting more sleep, enjoying more in other activities, because we think, oh, sugar leads to happiness. Actually, you know, we try to do other tricks of the trade, like getting out in nature to relieve stress, increase happiness, but also really important to, you know, increasing vitamin C. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit about that here. But there's another thing that I think when people think summer drinks, and I know we have a lot of people, you know, talking a lot about, you know, alcohol, right? There's no alcohol in here, but we drink it because there's like summer drinks are alcohol based. And I know we have a lot of people, and they're like, oh, there's a lot of people that say, oh my God, it's good for you, even a little bit. But actually now science is proving that the alcohol, provokes the leaky gut. It increases intestinal permeability. It opens up the junctions between these enterocytes and inflames the liver. It impairs your impulse control. So then you're likely to eat more and like mindlessly. And it's actually just another form of sugar. And so that means it like spikes your blood sugar. It contributes to insulin resistance, increases anxiety, fatigue, brain fog, triggers histamine. So basically badness. I have all my patients get off of alcohol.
I have seen people with fatty liver disease who don't drink alcohol. And it's really because of the sugar consumption, right? Because alcohol turns into sugar in your body, right? Mm-hmm. So it's so interesting because a lot of times they contribute fatty liver disease to alcohol consumption, but really it seems like it's more of a sugar thing. I don't know.
Absolutely, it is, and there's fatty liver, sugar, because most of the people that have fatty, like hepatitis, a lot of them are due to not the alcohol, but it's actually due to the fatty liver that is due from all of this artificial foods that are out there.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Diet is so key. So should we dive into our
what we can have? Yes, absolutely. So we wanted to talk about the stuff and why those were not so great for you. Now let's dive into the things that you can have.
Yes,
absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and start, and then I can even add in.
Okay, well, I'll go into one of my recipes, which is, so this recipe is a summer watermelon cooler drink. And basically, it's one of the recipes in my first cookbook, Summer Ramadan Recipes. And it just became so popular because it's super refreshing. So after a day of fasting, watermelon is super hydrating. And I tell you, it literally takes a couple minutes to make. You can even cut everything. I didn't cut everything up ahead of time because I wanted to talk about the watermelons, and I think the smaller ones are best if you can get them because they tend to be sweeter. You want to check the whole thing. This was the last watermelon in the store. Would you believe it? It was the last.
Wow, maybe in California, but not here. I just picked up one yesterday.
Chicago, but
it's hotter over there.
Yeah, well, Chicago-based, so we got the watermelon. Everybody's running for the summer foods. So anyway, so what I looked for is no dents and stuff, but this one had a little bruising. That's okay. It's not really going to be a big deal. But you want to always wash everything off before you cut them because that's where you can transmit a lot of things like salmonella and so on and so forth. So I really can't stand stickers on fruits, but anyway.
I don't understand that either.
Yeah, I'm going to give it another rinse actually. But anyway, so typically what I do with this one, and I'm going to see if I can show you guys more of my, can you see my screen? Can you see my board? Yeah. Okay, so this recipe, it calls for watermelon and strawberries, and you can put cherries in it, a little bit of lemon, and mint if you want. So this is a pretty nice red watermelon, but it has lots of seeds. This was advertised as a seedless watermelon, which I typically don't get, but it was the only one that was there. But it does have seeds in it, so it's not really seedless. Anyway, so what I do, you can actually freeze this. So I tell people, especially when
you can freeze watermelon?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Really? Oh my gosh! If everybody else that's what you guys learned today.
Yeah,
because that's craziness. I didn't know you could freeze watermelon. Woo! All the stuff you can learn.
Definitely. Well, I don't like ice. I know that's weird, but I don't know. I think it was my first trip to Italy that kind of changed everything about the way I eat, but they don't really have a lot of ice and things. A lot of things are drunk at room temperature, and I kind of liked it. And I just always stayed on that habit. So instead of having ice in my fridge, I put fruits in there for drinks like this. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to get too many of the seeds, but for sake of time, because otherwise it's going to get bitter, but it's not that bad.
And remember, watermelon is so great for hydration. 90% water, keeps you full, and is actually a natural diuretic. It protects the kidney, aids in detoxification, supports weight loss.
Yes.
And it contains even antioxidants like vitamin C, carotenoids, and lycopene that all improve cancers of digestive. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's really one of those immune boosting fruits, and it helps lipid levels, helps with skin, vitamin C, vitamin A, all those. So this is something that I would definitely recommend everybody do, specifically to optimize your immune system.
So what I've done with the strawberries and cherries is that I rinse them when I get them home and then put them in the freezer because I don't want to rinse them after they're frozen. So I've cleaned them already, but I didn't take the hull off. So what I do is just kind of take that out. You could cut this before, but I just rinsed and threw them in. But basically, I'm just gonna, you don't really, if you have a good powerful blender, you don't even have to cut them up. But basically, your berries, your frozen berries are like your ice. So you have cold watermelon or cold or frozen strawberries. That's like your ice. So, you know, you don't need to worry about ice at all. You know, you just throw in the berries, okay?
Yeah, that's what I got going on, yeah.
The juice of 1 lemon. And what you can do here is you can also grate the skin of it if you want and zest it and then, you know, put it in. But for now, I'm not going to do that. I just really want some, watch the seeds. And that's, you know, pretty much it. Now, if you have fresh mint, you can also just throw it in the blender or put it on top. But you can even just use dried mint because dried mint is, you know, it should be, you know, nice and powerful. If you just want to garnish, but I kind of like the taste of the mint inside the drink. So then all I'm going to do is stick it in the blender. And literally, this is like the drink I use in Ramadan in the summertime or hot time.
Ooh, yum.
That's perfect. Like, you know, when I'm breaking my fast, I typically make this and then, you know, have a couple dates or something. So even my kitty, do you hear her?
I do. She's so cute.
Oh, she
smells it. She wants it.
You know what? She wants to go inside the cabinet, actually. But what happens is that whenever there's something like that smells really strong, she comes around and she kind of wants to like know what's going on. So that should tell you that all this stuff is really very aromatic. You know, strawberries smell nice. The lemons are very powerful. So anyway, so I have a small blender. I don't use a really big one, but you know, this will make like maybe 2 drinks right here. So I can put a little bit of water in here just to kind of help it along. That's really good. And then I'll blend it up. Now, another thing you can do with this is once it's all blended up, and you don't, like if you don't put too much water in it, and once it's all blended up, if you have like a seltzer water or a club soda, like no sugar, none of those sugary things, but if you just want something kind of sparkly, then you can add that to the final drink. So it's really, really nice. So maybe I should mute myself because it's going to be really loud when I blend it. So let me just go mute myself here so you guys don't hear the loud blender.
And in the meantime, so she was just talking about seltzer water, there's sparkling water. It's better to get the ones that don't have any flavor in it. Again, it's very difficult for me. If we're gonna do anything, again, this is a treat only. There's lots of sparkling waters that are just, you know, out there in the market. I make sure that it's organic sparkling water. And you always want to look at the ingredients because a lot of them have just natural flavors, and natural flavors equate to being artificial. So focus on your, especially if it says organic, make sure all the ingredients are all natural. This one specifically says organic natural flavors. Again, it's not ideal, but the thing is, at least it's all organic, and you know that those natural flavors are all organic. A lot of times what happens is that these natural flavors, even in organic products, cannot be so great for you.
Yes,
so there's a lot of like ones out there on the market that are in cans. All of them I've noticed just have simple, and they don't even tell you what it is, like what those natural flavors are. And natural flavors equate to being artificial. So it's better to focus on clean ones, and then these drinks with all of these super nutritious benefits. Oh my gosh, that looks so delicious.
So this, look how easy this was to make, right? All I did was blend it up, and then I put a little bit of dried mint on top, and then, you know, some, like a sprig of lemon if you want some more, and that's it. And like, you know, like I said, you could put the sparkly water in it. You know, if this is too thick for you, you can just do that. I wouldn't put the sparkly water in the blender. But I would do it afterwards. So that makes for like a nice fancy drink, you know, for people who don't drink alcohol, especially. Let's say you don't do alcohol in your home and you have people coming over and you still want to serve them something fancy and nice, you know, get some really nice glasses and garnish it. I mean, people don't notice that kind of like the absence of something, as long as the product you give them is good and tasty. They're not going to complain. Trust me. I've been there 1,000 times. This is so delicious. What's in it? You know, so that's all that matters. People remember that taste and say, you know, that was so good, right?
That was, yeah.
So I'm going to clean up this drink because I have another drink. So why don't I let
Perfect. And I'll talk about a little bit of the things that I have going on here.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so what we have is what I have going on here is so delicious. So for me in my house, remember we have lots of people here at the house. So there's 8 people minimum, and it can go up to even 20 people. So believe me, I completely understand. And there's a lot of kids. You know, I have 4 boys of my own. So from 12 to 4, I actually just turned 5, so 12 to 5, and they're always wanting something delicious and nutritious. So for me, just like your filtered your water with just like diffused, but a little bit. So even just diffused water here with all of these delicious things that you can put inside, like fruit, oranges. I have, you know, lemons here. We got a mint right from my garden. Oh, it smells so good. And even cucumbers. So I always have in like a jug, we always have some diffused water. And this is something that's like, you just stick this in here. It's better to take that, obviously the seeds out if you can, with even just like a little spring of, now we got some strawberries, and you can cut these here, and then just a little bit of mint. And for me, like this, my kids absolutely love this. And look how beautiful that is. It's just so simple. And I don't think we have to make things complicated. And so that's if it's just, you know, even for decor, I'll just leave that there for decor and put it in individual glasses. The other thing that I've also noticed is really fun to do is just what like Yvonne is doing. I've taken frozen berries and I stick those frozen berries inside the water. And that then, the frozen berries are really cool because of the fact that it really makes the water a little colored once it specifically sits in there. So I have like frozen strawberries, I have frozen berries, and then you can add again that mint or what you would not want for those. And then obviously just like, you know, cut up kind of, there we go, like check that out. Like that looks delicious here. And then that's another summer drink that again, just water infused. That's this kinds of stuff that goes in my house with all of these delicious types of foods. But then people are like, okay, yeah, but what about, you know, we want something a little bit sweeter. So in my house, again, you can sweeten it with fruit. Again, like you could sweeten it with bananas, you can sweeten it with all these different types of fruits. For those people that are diabetic, there was one question about natural sweeteners. So in my house, we use stevia, which is an all-natural sweetener. There's no, we actually had this stevia plant, and the plant is delicious. We would just eat the leaves of the plant, and that's what, so delicious. But we'll do a little bit of stevia. So I'll just take like some stevia. There's like a little thing in here. We'll add some stevia to this. And now you have like a little bit of sweetened drink that for those people that can't tolerate, if you wanted to add like real fruit. And then in some cases, okay, so this is a trick that I just wanted to let you guys know, specifically for trying to get vitamin C into your kids. We try to get it obviously through fruits, but sometimes I'll even sneak out in a little bit of vitamin C, which I do a little. There's vitamin C here that I get at Whole Foods. And it's just pure vitamin C. I add like a couple pinches of here in that, and then now they're getting the vitamin C infused drinks. So that is just one piece of the puzzle to really keep your immune system optimal. And then the other things that I wanted to discuss also was, so we talked about the sparkling water, and then there are things that you can get out on the market. So this is the juice that I drink in my house. So like, okay, so what kind of juice? I do not do fruit juices in my house. That is all pure of sugar. What Yvonne is doing right now with real fruit, that is a better option to do that. But fruit juice, fruit punch is all sugar. That never enters my house. So the ones that we do in my house are, like, for example, we do an Uber greens. Again, this is all green. It's just super green. This one specifically has cucumber, celery, grapefruit, chard, green chard, lemon, kale, mint, parsley, and spinach. And you can use these as bases of different types of drinks that you would like. That's actually what I'm drinking here right now. It's really delicious. It's settled a little bit. But again, we juice a lot in our house. So we do fresh juices of beets, celery, I'll put an apple in there, and even carrots. And if we're on a pinch, there are other ones out there that are like organic juices here, like that are just pure orange carrot juice. That again, the kids do just for treats and treats only. Because my biggest goal for them is to really get that delicious taste from whole natural foods. And if something does call for dairy or anything, I use almond milk here. And you want to always look at the drink ingredients. Like this one specifically just has filtered water, organic sprouted almonds, and vanilla, along with Himalayan salt. So you want to, again, it's organic, it's all natural. This is what we'll do for if a drink calls for dairy, because again, a lot of people can't tolerate dairy. And we talked about the sugar. Instead of sugar, we use honey, we use maple syrup, you can use coconut sugar. I mean, there's so many different options, but I think what Yvonne is doing right now, which I have right here, I think she sent me over some delicious juice here, because a pina colada, is an amazing drink.
Yay! So this recipe, I included it in the My Halal Kitchen cookbook in the Latin cuisine section because it's a very Latin drink. And, I thought it would be like a really simple recipe to kind of come up with and tweak, but we did so many tests of this recipe to make sure that it came out the way it did. And this one is on ice and it's really, really good. But I'm doing a little bit of a different version, like a really quick version. And actually I'm not putting ice in this one, but it's so funny because pina coladas typically have alcohol. And a few years ago, I went to Mexico and I said, can you give me a pina colada without alcohol? And the waiter just kind of looked at me like, what? Why do you? And I said, can you just, and he goes, well, it's not going to taste good. And I said, can you just make it like this, 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 and this? And I basically said my recipe and he goes, okay. And he kind of wrote it down and then he went back and came back with it. And then he goes, that tastes pretty good. And I said, I know, you don't even miss the alcohol. So really, if something tastes good, go for it. You don't really need the added sugar and the alcohol and all of that. But I have to talk about pineapple and a little bit of a tangent because there's a lot of things going on with pineapple. I really hate food waste. And I look at everything that I cut up as like, what can I do with that stuff? So first of all, to pick a pineapple, and I already cut it up, but you want to smell the core of it at the bottom. So don't be shy at the grocery store to pick it up and to smell the bottom, because if it smells like pineapple, it's probably a really nice, ripe, juicy pineapple, and that's what you need for a drink like this. So that's how I pick my pineapple. And people have seen me at the store, and they'll say, is that how you can tell, that the pineapple's good? And I say, yeah, it has to smell like pineapple. But also, just like with things like garlic, like when you pick up the bottom, you can see if there's mold growing on a fruit. And that's really important because you don't want to have.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can start to see if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be on that core. And you'll see those little bluish spots. So you really want to put it back. Because if it's in the bottom, it could be anywhere in the fruit and you don't want to be eating that. So once you cut the tops off too, if you live in a warm climate or you have, if you want to try your hand at growing things, This top can be stuck into dirt, and it can start to grow a pineapple. And you can do this. I've seen people do this in the Midwest. There was an Algerian restaurant I used to go to in Chicago, and the guy that owned the restaurant, he had lots of plants in there, and I noticed a pineapple growing, and I was like, really? Is that real or is it fake? He said, I just stuck it in dirt, put it by the window, and then he started growing a pineapple. So I thought that was fascinating. And then, I didn't really ever try it in Chicago, but warmer climates, I would think I'd have more success, but that's cool. That's how things grow. And that's how you get this delicious.
Probably in Florida too, right? Florida, so all these places, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is, all this stuff that when you cut the pineapple, you got to cut it off to the side and get all of those little nodes, these things. You don't want to have these nodes in your drink because they're not digestible very well, and they're going to be a little sharp. So, but what people can do, and I know like they do this in Puerto Rico, for example, they'll take these skins and put them in vinegar for
really?
Yes, and then it makes a pineapple vinegar, so you can use that in salad dressing. But you only do it for a couple of days. You don't do it for months or something. You just kind of flavor the vinegar, and then you use that flavored vinegar for salad dressings and so on. Voila! You don't need to buy some fancy stuff. So really nice. So
heart love. We need a heart love there because that was awesome. Awesome.
Cool. You have all these different tips, how you can reuse things in just one fruit. I think that's amazing to me. Okay, so I've cut it up and it's about 3 cups of pineapple quartz. So in my cookbook recipe, I add coconut cream and ice cubes to this, and then I do a little bit of pineapple juice. But I didn't want to go that route this time because I'm actually trying to simplify things even more and more and more. So now what I'm doing is really just some pineapple and reduced fat coconut milk. Because if you go full on cream, you have to play around with the ice to kind of get that sweet spot texture. And if you go with coconut water, it doesn't taste as good. It's just too watery. So what I do is I do the coconut milk, coconut milk, reduced fat. Hold on a second. 1 second. What do I do with? That's my. So it's a little bit thicker than coconut milk, like the kind that you buy in the boxes. This is a canned one, and then it's not as thick as the coconut cream. So what I'm going to do is for 3 cups of pineapple, you do about 1 cup of the reduced fat coconut milk. So what I'm going to do is blend this, and then I'm going to look at the texture and see, do I want to add water? Do I want to add more coconut or anything like that? So I'm going to mute myself because it's going to be really loud, okay?
Oh, wow. So again, remember, there's so many delicious benefits of coconut to the point where it really even helps to hydrate because of the fact that it's such a really great healing fat. So to incorporate coconut into your daily routine, it's also anti-inflammatory, it's antifungal, antimicrobial. It actually contains fats like lauric acid that combats viral infections, increasing metabolism, promotes weight loss. So it strengthens your immune system. It helps your cells communicate better. And so really incorporating this coconut into your daily routine is really powerful for inflammation and your immune system.
This is so good. It's so simple. I mean, you can definitely add the ice. I think that would make it really more summery, but what I'm trying to say is, like, don't be perfect about things. If you don't have this and that and the other thing, just try. I mean, I'm really just trying to get some nutrition right now. I'm just trying to get some summer fruits, some things that are really, like coconut and pineapple, that's a summer thing, right? You can add a little bit of sparkly water to this, and it would be like a fizzy drink if you wanted. But
it won't break?
Sorry?
Break like on you?
You could do just a little and see.
Okay.
But I think in this drink it's not going to be as great. But I would say ice. Ice is better for this. But if you have like extra pineapple chunks, you could decorate or whatever. Go to town with yourself and have a nice trip.
I'm like going to town. I don't know about you guys. Like, this is summer drink deliciousness.
My point is that, I just really feel like we don't have to overcomplicate things, and you don't have to buy a ton of stuff to have something nice and healthy and delicious. And, people in your lives are not going to be
so pretty.
Yeah, did all the greenery. Yeah. So
excellent. Did you want to take some questions then?
Yeah. Look, I can even take some chunks and just, put them on my glass and just be happy.
Ooh, yeah, nice. Yeah, I ran out of that, so I put a strawberry on my glass.
It is so good. All of it was good, but yeah, let's see. I think people are having some questions here.
Yeah, I love it. This is really exciting stuff. So let's go through this. You guys, if you have questions, please let us know.
Shazima is saying she was looking for a punch recipe. I have one for you, actually. In my book, it's, hang on one second. In the American section, I believe, there's a really nice punched recipe, and I don't put added sugar. I have a picture of it.
I don't know what to drink, what not to drink. Like, this is so exciting. I've never been this hydrated in my life. I'm kidding.
This is a golden peach punch.
Ooh.
It's a great punch for parties. And what's in it? 4 ripe peaches. You can do 2.5 cups sparkling water, ice, strawberries, and another, like a peach you add in for garnish inside. And you can do some grape juice if you want, but you don't have to. So very good.
Easy.
Yeah.
So simple and nutritious.
I made this for a party, and everybody loved it. So I just turned it into a recipe in the book. So yeah. And so much, just all natural fruits.
Yeah, Shazma was asking, what book did you recommend on sugar? There was a sugar book that you said.
I wrote it. I said Sugar Blues. I wrote that back.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. And then so a lot of people with metabolic issues can do well with the ketogenic. And that's why, especially, you can stay a little ketogenic, especially those people are doing ketogenic and trying to balance their insulin resistance. Again, things like this are super ketogenic and friendly, and you can just add some stevia or monk fruit extract and things in there. Equally as delicious to help balance that.
A friend of mine brought that to Turkey for me to try because I couldn't find it in Turkey. She put it in tea, and it was so sweet for me. But it's all natural.
All natural.
It just goes to show that someone who doesn't really have sweets, everything is so sweet to me typically. And you'll see that if you stop the sugar, things are going to be like profoundly more sweet for you.
Wow. Here, check this one out. So just by Nama says, I reversed my stage 3 kidney failure to healthy kidneys in just 13 months. Good job. I am so proud of you. And she did it by, she said she did it by cutting out carbs and sugars. So good girl. Exactly. Get those sugars out there, and all those artificial carbs are not good for you. So keep it up. Wow, I'm so proud of you. This one here, she's a patient of just GAD, and then she started keto.
Is gestational diabetes or what? What is
generalized anxiety disorder?
Oh, okay.
So she has anxiety, and since 2 days, I feel my anxiety is triggered. But what do you think I'm missing? Because I'm missing carbs. So it does actually, when you get off of carbs and sugar, these sugar actually are just like heroin for your brain. And they actually have done studies where it turns the same places on in the brain that drugs do. So there's a withdrawal effect that occurs when you get off of sugar and carbohydrates. And then I know specifically like even dairy and wheat all release something called casomorphine. And that literally it's just like morphine. It's just like a withdrawal that you're having from those carbs and the sugar. So again, we got to get rid of that.
Is that why diabetes is addictive?
Yes, it's so addictive. That's why, because of the casomorphine.
What
I
about
know.
all cheeses though, like goat cheese or sheep?
So it still relates. It's still, those ones are a little bit less so, but the more processed it is, the more addictive it's going to be.
Why is that?
So the one, because of the fact that they put a lot of other crazy things in it to cause it to, it's not just dairy, it's a lot of other things, enzymes and fillers. So this is where I think we really need to take a look at your cheeses
Yes.
to make sure that there's nothing else going on in your cheese.
You know,
because it does. It makes a huge difference.
you're so right about that, because like from a halal perspective, you know, to avoid all of those enzymes and rennets and all of those fillers type of things that you're, well, not the rennet, but the enzymes and the fillers that you're talking about, I started just going like to the basic sheep's milk cheese. They don't have any of that added stuff, like just to avoid the hassle. Is it halal? Is it not? Blah, blah, blah. And it was like, those cheeses don't really bother me. They don't give me, I feel like no effect really when I eat those.
So that's why the raw cheese is, yeah, so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is that these normal cheeses, I mean, normal milk and stuff should normally separate, but because of all the commercial cow's milk that's out there, that contains like growth hormones and chemicals because the pasteurization kills the bacteria. But what it also does is it actually destroys healthy probiotics and vitamins and minerals and enzymes and nutritious proteins and alters the casein protein. And that then creates this molecule that resembles gluten, and then that can also leads to this beta casein morphine that then leads to they've actually done studies where this beta casomorphine 7 is an opioid that's created.
Oh my God.
Actually leads to decreases the amount of antioxidants in the brain and has been linked to autism and schizophrenia, just because we've been so manipulating this dairy so much.
Can you say that? Please repeat that.
So they have done studies where dairy also, when it breaks up, it breaks up into, it also contains proteins called alpha-1 beta casein.
Okay.
Which releases beta casomorphine 7. That's an opioid that can create a shortage of antioxidants in your brain. And that has been linked to autism and schizophrenia.
Dairy,
so
milk.
dairy does. Yeah. So different types of dairy and milk. And so there's so many, raw milk doesn't do it as much so. But this is why I really try to keep people away from specifically the pasteurized patient, because when we pasteurize and homogenize it, it totally messes it all up. It's no longer that same milk.
It's not live anymore. It's dead. We've killed it to death. We've heated it to death.
We've heated it to death. So that's another. So we got more questions here.
My kitty.
Is there a theory that doesn't taste as good? So yeah, I mean, for me, this stevia doesn't really have any taste to it. But again, stay away from all the other artificials. The only one that I use is stevia because I had a stevia plant and my kids used to eat the leaves out of it, and it was delicious. So that's another drink. And then there's other things on the market. For example, there's collagen drinks. So many different things on the market that you can do to help boost your immune system. And if you're looking for something to drink, you want to. And then a lot of people are doing coconut waters. Again, a lot of that has been pasteurized and homogenized. Really good to focus on the ones that are refrigerated. If you're going to go for a coconut water, go for the ones that are refrigerated. So lots of fun.
That's good advice. That's good advice, rather than something in the box, Yeah,
absolutely. Excellent, you guys. Well, I hope that has helped. I know Yvonne has to head out, so this is why I just wanted we can start to wrap things up. Any last words, Yvonne? Because that just looks so delicious as we finish our pina colada.
Yeah. Well, my struggle is when I make these kinds of things, I'm really afraid of sugar, so I don't even go crazy on the drinks. I have maybe like 1 or 2, and I'm good.
Absolutely. And this is just for a treat.
Treats. Yes.
But if you want, the infused water is something you can easily do on a daily basis.
Spa water. When you go to spas, they have like the cucumber lemon water.
I know, it's so delicious.
It's so nice, and you can make those at home so easily. You don't need to, even go to the spa for that, but you should go to a spa.
Yeah.
To treat yourself. I'm ready for something like that.
Excellent, you guys. Well, thank you so much. Watch out for the next. Yes, next.
Share this. If you found this beneficial, please share this with your friends. Yeah, let them know what you liked about it so they'll watch it, because we do a lot, not just the recipes, but we talk a lot, right? We talk a lot about a lot of things, and we're really just trying to get healthy and encourage everybody else to get back in balance, go back to the basics. And it doesn't mean you have to give up your modern life, to be back to the basics and be healthy. And you don't have to be in the kitchen all day.
That's fun.
This was right. Like, did I take more than 2 minutes to make this?
No. And look, I'm cheers myself. Yeah, let's do it. Actually,
so I've got the pina colada, and I've got the watermelon berry smoothie. I'm actually gonna freeze this for a little bit and make it like a slush. You can do that too. One more thing I have to say about this. I forgot. This mixture that I just made, and you might be able to do it with this one. I haven't tried it, but put this into popsicle molds in the freezer. Once you make this, put it into popsicle molds for your kids or yourself.
That's such a great idea.
Think about that. That tastes so good, because I've done it before. Where by
perfect summer lollipop treat.
Yes. Don't buy the lollipops or the junk stuff at the store. Just make them. Get those. Invest in the lollipop molds, and you just blend your fruits and freeze them. Oh my gosh, they're so great.
Popsicles, yummy, 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 yummy. Excellent, you guys. Well, please like and share. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll keep on taking a look and answering them. See you guys next Wednesday. Yay!
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.